The proposal to deploy a European military contingent to Ukraine was first voiced by French President Emmanuel Macron in February 2024. At the time, many EU leaders did not support the idea. However, discussions about sending peacekeepers to Ukraine has recently resumed. In Germany, for instance, this idea has gained traction ahead of parliamentary elections. Friedrich Merz, the Christian Democratic Union candidate for chancellor, stated that he is open to Germany participating in this initiative. His party colleagues argue that Berlin has a responsibility in this matter, but stress that Germany should act within the framework of both the EU and NATO.
As the strongest economic power in Europe, Germany should be ready to make a significant contribution to peace and the European security architecture. A peacekeeping force is effective and, given our limited material and human resources in Europe, realistic when the peacekeeping force can be attributed to the European and transatlantic security architecture, and therefore to NATO, since the nuclear shield also applies to Ukraine. Roderick Kaiswetter, Christian Democratic Union foreign policy expert, in an interview with the German newspaper Neue Osnabrücken Zeitung.
The deployment of peacekeepers should be part of Ukraine's path to NATO, but must not serve as a replacement for membership in the North Atlantic Alliance. This was stated by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during an interview broadcast in the United News Marathon. According to him, the success of this initiative depends on the involvement of as many European countries as possible.
We support such an initiative, but France alone is not enough. We would not want this to be limited to just one or two countries. I believe that the UK will support it, as well as some other countries that, for now, have chosen not to publicly comment on the matter because they are wary of Russia's influence. However, this idea was discussed during our meeting with Macron and Trump in France. I noticed that Trump has a positive attitude toward it.
Experts say that Trump has been instrumental in reviving discussions about deploying peacekeepers to Ukraine. The newly elected US president has stated that Europeans should not rely entirely on Washington for their security. Analysts also point out that the nature of the peacekeeping mission in Ukraine will depend on the terms of any potential peace agreement.
This is not about deploying troops to carry out operations on Ukrainian territory. It's about monitoring the implementation of agreements that may be reached. Of course, as is typical in such cases, the consent of both sides is required. There must be an understanding on both sides that the servicemen performing this monitoring are trusted and their assessments will be taken seriously.
In December, Reuters, citing officials and experts, outlined a draft plan for how an EU peacekeeping mission in Ukraine could look. It is expected to involve a coalition of 5-8 countries, with the total number of troops potentially reaching up to 100,000. Reported by Katerina Bastun, Andriy Dmitrenko, UATV News.